A 3-2 lead right now for Liberty as the Flames scored the first 3 goals in that first period, and then battling back Buffalo State with 2 of their own. 2 reviews in that first period as well. And in many ways, it felt like the second review acted as a timeout for Buffalo State. They got their heads back in the game. Alex Wiederspiel here with you on AAU Plus. Getting ready to start the second period here. Thanks for joining us again. We're glad to have you with us for the late game. This is our nightcap. Was originally scheduled for an 8 o'clock start. Got started around 10:45. So again, we apologize for the inconvenience, but very, very heavy day of games on this rink. And as we work through this tournament, delays are usually going to be fewer and farther between. But thanks again for being here one way or another. We'll see what these Hokies can do. We'll see what these Terps can do as the second period is officially underway here. From the half wall, back to the blue line, shot on. That one whizzes past Pharisee. And in the slot, there's number 1. Puck got loose in the slot and fired home by who else? Gavin Peduzzi might be the front runner for tournament MVP, and Pharisee letting up a goal. You may want to let Peduzzi keep the puck. Simonetti lost the puck. Great stand-up defensive play. This is going to lead to a 2-on-0. Goaltender comes out, trying to make the play. Hastings makes the first stop and might have made the second one as well. Not sure if it was wide of the net, but Haley Hastings, a tremendous stop on the first one. 52 seconds to go. So Virginia playing a bit of a cycle game here at the moment. And then this one sent out. Opportunity, foot race. Could be a 2-on-1 here. And into the slot, Ramarino, what a save. Second chance opportunity potentially. And that's the first of the day. Jackson Shanahan. The third man in the trailer, and Shanahan has broken the deadlock. So puts the second line back on. Basso, Stahl, and Atkinson. Stahl has a goal in this one, and I think we're going to get an icing coming here against West Virginia. No, it's waved off, and West Virginia now a chance to end it. 5 holes shut. A second opportunity. Puck is loose. The Mountaineers have won. Get your singing voices ready. Country Roads will run through the building. Back to the blue line and sending all the way around. Giving chase to this one is Caleb Craven. He laid that big hit earlier. No call there. Big moment in this game. And a mistake going to lead to an opportunity breakaway for Kazai. Could he end this one for Virginia Tech? Kazai flips it off the backhand, and that will do it. Virginia Tech has won the ACCHL playoffs. And now can they just survive to the shootout with 20 seconds to go? 3-on-3 very clearly favoring them, but a nice play there by Schnarr. 2-on-1 possibly developing here. Shot on and in! Bar down and game over. Caden Schnarr, good night. And so questions abound about goal scorers for both of these goals. We'll learn more coming up. But we do know that Stahl gets a goal. I would be shocked if Forrester didn't get at least one of the assists, which would put him up to 4 assists in 4 periods, not even 4 full periods of hockey here. It was his shot that started everything. Great for Stahl to get the goal there, though, considering he started it with the rush up ice, and his physical play kept it alive. No icing here as this one winds up going on Glover. West Virginia. See if they can exit with some speed here. Pass through center ice was intercepted, and then immediately taken back by Robert Rossi. Rossi, his puck goes around. Looking for Kinchlow. Kinchlow trying to get this up the ice, can't quite get there. Pass back to him, West Virginia's fourth line. Kinchlow gets a hit there. Kinchlow fires one on low, and more extra stuff. This is a war in Morgantown. Faceoff's going to come back out to the neutral zone.
West Virginia's top line is back out. Spiewak, Kiger, and the captain, Prianti. Sanders gives chase. He's out there with Rossi, Mountaineers' third pair. And Spiewak, nice play there to come up with it. Player lost a glove. Here's Spiewak. Shot on, and this gloved on the Prianti shot set up by Spiewak. Kovacic will stop the play for a face-off here for the moment in the Slippery Rock zone. Offensive zone face-off coming. West Virginia will send their top pair out, Deasing and Forrester. And face-off won by Slippery Rock. Now the question is, can they get this out of the zone? Turnover right by the blue line, and then Kiger fished that one back towards the corner. Prianti came up with it. Kiger giving chase at the net front, can't get there. Back towards the blue line. Here's Forrester. Fires one on. Open net. Shot on, and West Virginia takes a 2-1 lead. Another brilliant setup from Forrester at the point, and West Virginia has scored consecutive goals late in the first period. I think Kiger is going to be the one who finally put this one away. You can see on the replay here, puck comes back to Forrester from Spiewak, and Kiger comes in and makes the play on what's essentially an empty net.
Dave Green with 2 goals, and Virginia's back in it. We're tied at 2. And another opportunity, and a quick one the other way. 2 saves made by Tyson. Comes back out in front, and the Hawks will have some work to do here. Excellent physical play here. Who else? It's Carpenter. Carpenter fires. Big save from Billy Bass. Oh, man, and he gives a pretty good fist pump after that one. Bass knows how big that one was. Carpenter has been electric. Down to the final minute here of the period. It is 2-2. Late goals from Dave Green of Virginia. And we're going to have a stoppage here. Looked like the puck was underneath a player. Give a chance for everybody to get a change. Man, Virginia looked lifeless for the first half of this period. But slowly but surely, they worked their way back into it. And Dave Green with 2 big goals. Now, the Hawks, to their credit, when they faced adversity, when it was tied at 4, they scored pretty quickly to make it 5-4 in yesterday's win. And we're going to get a penalty coming up. Virginia is going to either end on a power play or a 6-on-5 here. And this will lead to an abbreviated power play. 36.8 seconds to go. That's a tough one for the Hawks. Offensive zone call. And that's going to send the man they call Braz to the box. Michael Brazel. I think they got him for a hook. He heads to the box for 2. Tough period for the Hawks. Big period for UVA. And able to keep that one in. Excellent play from Cristiano. It's called tripping officially, excuse me. Into the slot, fired on, and the puck trickles through. 3-2. Adam Trubish. Power play goal for Virginia. 20 seconds to go in the period, and the Hawks fans are stunned here. Virginia, 3 unanswered. So the Cavs get their first power play goal. What's wild is, looked like he had made the save initially, and Tyson just can't close it down. Look at this. He makes the save, and then it just squirts through. So that was a loose puck, and you can see here as Reed enters the zone with possession, holding the line.
for South Carolina, though that goal will count. All right, we're back underway. Lucas Van Mullen sent this one up. Carson Scove had a chance at it. Back below the goal line. Now this puck squirts out, and Tennessee will be able to head up with a little bit of speed, dumping this one into the zone. Giving chase is Kyle Stober, who had the goal that was turned over for Tennessee. South Carolina flips this one back out for the Volunteer defensive pairing. DeStefano playing today with Rose. This one sent deep and played by Tamoyan. Scove sends this one up, and it hit the official right in front of the Tennessee bench. Little beneficial bounce there for the Volunteers. Flipped into the zone. South Carolina flips it back out to the neutral zone. And Rose sends this one up. Right now, after that goal, just no real flow to this as they're back and forth chipping it out. Little territorial Cold War going on here. This one flipped deep and giving chase with Scove. South Carolina going to exit here with possession and then send deep was Ben Riccatelli. That'll allow the Gamecocks to get a change as the puck goes out of play. This is the period of the long change, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Take a little bit longer for players to get back to the bench. You got to be careful about any ill-begotten changes. South Carolina's Jake Pushkar is going to take the face-off here. We got a chance to catch up with him yesterday after the South Carolina game. Captain of this Gamecocks team. You know, he was happy with the way they played early in that one. Opportunity in front, and looked like Green made the initial save. Puck came back, and off the rebound, South Carolina makes it 3-1. 2 goals in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. South Carolina has taken over the early stages of this second period. Carson Stickley.
1-1 game here. Impressive work from Deer Lakes, who is undermanned just to stay in this one. And strong start to this game, scoring the goal, a couple of 2-on-1s they couldn't convert on, and boy, you would have liked at least one of those 2-on-1s right now. Create some insurance. So Baker and Custer get the assists on the goal. Daffner gets the goal. And for Daffner, that is his 11th of the season. Here's Custer, leaves this one back for Daffner. Sent back to the blue line, this one intercepted, but not with much speed for Max Redinger, and he tries to split 2 defenders. Can't do it. Turnover there from Cameron Smith, couldn't get it out of the zone. Good stick check there, fired on net, doesn't get in. Best pressure we've seen for Wilhelm and the Lancers this period. Again, I think unofficially I only have them at 1 shot in the period. Good move here. Wilhelm can't get a shot off. This one comes through the crease and back out to Brandon Custer. Custer working up the blue line, has this up to Daffner. Daffner flipped it with his sticks backhand, and it trickled towards the netminder, so covered by Minnick. 1 apiece, 2:39 to go. And boy, you would think right now that Morgantown, late here in the period, knowing that there's a long intermission coming up for the Lancers to get some rest, they would love to put some pressure on here. They send out that top line. Cox and Helen, though now Petruzzi is on the top line. Face-off won by Deer Lakes, but they couldn't clear it out of the zone until Robbins struggled with it. Puck was on its edge. Puck sent up just past Cox, and Petruzzi comes up with it. He'll enter back into the zone with Bieneman hot on his tail. Petruzzi fires one on just wide of the net. Into the corner, Cox able to get this back out to Snyder. Snyder's shot didn't get there. Turnaround shot in the slot. Cox came up with it. What a pass in the slot, and it is 2-1. Dominic Petrucci scores on a brilliant setup from Cooper Cox. His 61st point of the year. 11 goals for Petrucci now.
Chance to catch up with both head coaches today. South Carolina's Alan Serrois has led the Gamecocks to this point. They're a 4 seed in the SEC, but they were ranked one of the top teams in the country and have a very good chance at making the regional tournament, even if they do not win this game today. Ahead of puck drop, we're joined by South Carolina Gamecocks head coach Alan Serrois. And Coach, obviously you guys played a tremendous couple of games to get here. The third period against Georgia, a little bit shaky yesterday, and you mentioned when we talked after the game, there was a lesson you guys could learn from that in victory. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that message was to the locker room?
Pretty much same things I said yesterday. It's a lesson learned in a win, which is great. But now we know that we just can't stop. All these teams are very good. If you just pause just for a few minutes, it happened to us in 3 goals in 5 minutes. So you just can't do it. You just got to play 60, and we're trying to prepare ourselves for regionals next week, which you're going to have to play 60 against those teams because it's going to be very great competition. So today, 60 minutes. All day, if we play our game, I think we'll have no issues.
Do you have to make any major adjustments? Does Tennessee play differently than Georgia at all in a way that would make you say we got to make some changes, or is it generally play our game and we'll be all right?
Pretty much. Their power play is different in Georgia, so that's a little adjustment that we did there on our penalty kill. Other than that, it's just play our game. When we track people down, finish the body, and we'll be just fine.
I more analytically, I just thought the hand wringing was a little over the top, and lo and behold, the penalty kill was perfect. Of the two players who were most maligned by Team USA fans, they did their jobs literally perfectly. That said, we'll move on to tonight's games. There were 6 games across the NHL this evening of varying interest, perhaps none more so than the game that was at noon today. Detroit and Nashville were playing, not just for American audiences, if you wanted to spend some time watching at work, but for European audiences as well. And we'll get into the game in a second, but I honestly had, and I say this as someone who follows the league extremely closely, I had no idea this game was at noon.
Hockey to talk about here on the show. We got 3 more games tonight, all of which very excitingly did not include teams who are in a playoff spot. In fact, some of whom are very actively selling and waving the white flag on this season. We're going to start with one of them and probably another team that should be doing more in that regard. The New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers. Rangers take this one in an absolute bloodbath, 6-2 final. Mika Zibanejad continues to be the Flyer killer. 2 more goals for him in this one. A 3-point night for Alexis Lafreniere, and one of my friends who's a Rangers fan with an absolutely classic Lafreniere analysis, as I shot him a text, and we used to have this running joke about Alexis Lafreniere, and I would in all caps refer to him as Bus Freniere anytime he did anything good. And of course, he had a 3-point night tonight. He's been playing really, really well lately. He's likely going to eclipse 50 points for only the second time in his career. And as he said, when the lights get dimmest, Alexis Lafreniere shines brightest, which I thought was extremely rude, but was also kind of accurate for the way this season has gone. Still, exciting times in a certain respect for the Rangers. They get a goal from Gabe Perreault in this one. And overall, you saw some signs of life from a team that's trying to integrate more young pieces post-trade deadline and play pretty well against an arch rival who got the win against them last time. So New York gets the win in this one, TJ. And I can't believe how flat the Flyers looked for parts of this game.
Yeah, and we know how tough it is. I mean, getting back 3 times in a row is really hard. Of course, it's happened. It's happened. I mean, Florida did it. Tampa Bay did it. It's still very, very hard to do. The one thing I guess worth noting about Edmonton here is that, and I want to be careful how I phrase this, because I don't want to excuse some of the disastrously bad Edmonton performances that we've seen this season. And I'm not saying that this is one of them, though there were some issues tonight.
They've blown some games. They look lackadaisical at times this year.
And we've seen Yeah, I think about that 9-1 loss to Dallas, and they didn't they give up a 10 spot earlier this year as well. But the one thing I want to note is that we have seen this where whether it's, and again, this is being very generous to the Oilers at the moment, but we have seen this in the past with the Tampa Bay Lightning. We've seen this in the past with the Florida Panthers. That there is a point where a team gets to be so good that they don't take the regular season
here. I think that's the case
as seriously, but when they need to, they can turn it on.
Sure.
What we now need to see from Edmonton, much like we saw, and we didn't have this obviously quite the same level of massive break. Four Nations was a big break, but I think was a week shorter than the Olympics was. I will be curious to see if Edmonton can find a way to recapture the magic that they turned on around this time last year. And they were super banged up at this time. So we'll see.
They've done this every year.
I have some concerns. This might not be. I don't know that comparing them to Tampa and Florida is fair with how bad they've been defensively.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Zach Werenski, I thought, what a fitting play for him to make in overtime. I thought he was one of the best players on ice during the first period, which was, I think, unquestionably Team USA's best period of hockey. The second felt like a disaster at times. The third, I thought, was tilted towards Canada, but not maybe as badly as the second period was, though, again, we'll get more into that coming up. But I thought Werenski was really noticeable in a lot of good ways during Team USA's best moments in this game. So for him to come up with that play, I don't want him to get forgotten about. Obviously, Jack Hughes is going to be the hero, but Werenski has over the last couple of years really risen to prominence in a way that's tough to do in that Columbus market. And now I think his name should be regarded just as highly as Jack Hughes's is. I wanted to talk with you about from the Canadian perspective, and we'll start with David Morisuti from Locked On Toronto Maple Leafs, who talks a little bit about what this means for Austin Matthews and a lot about what this means for Team Canada. And then we're going to kind of bounce around back and forth between these two hockey powers and what all this meant. Let's hear from David.
The Buffalo Sabres, I think, are no longer punching above their weight class. I think this just is their weight class. I am fully on board with either Buffalo or Tampa coming out of the Eastern Conference. That's my prediction. It's going to be one of those two out of the Eastern Conference. I'll stick with Tampa since that was my preseason pick, but I think Buffalo is going to be similar to Vancouver a couple of years ago. Remember that first year under Rick Tocchet, or I guess technically second year, but first full season under Rick Tocchet. Those are the vibes I'm getting right now for the Buffalo Sabres under Lindy Ruff. Hopefully the stuff that happened after, we don't need to draw that comparison.